Welcome in, episode 351, What's Right with Nick Wright, presented to you by Boost Mobile. If you guys aren't subscribed to the pod, this past weekend is a good reason, example as why you should be. We had World Series of Poker, 7-time bracelet winner, poker champion, and the best poker broadcaster in the world, Nick Schulman, on the rare late Friday night pod. Shout out to Paul and all the folks who helped out with that. And even if you're not a poker fan, he then gave some awesome boxing commentary and some boxing picks. Now, the picks didn't end up winning. However, he handicapped the Manny Pacquiao fight to a T. We were on the right side of that fight. Got absolutely robbed by the judges. And but the reason I'm mentioning that here is it wasn't part of our regular schedule. It was kind of a time-sensitive thing. We did it Friday night. The fights were Saturday night. And so if you're not subscribed to the pod, you missed it. And so subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify for the audio, the visual feeds, all of that. Like, rate, review. The ratings and the reviews do help more than I think they probably should, but they do. So we appreciate all that. So there is that. We have an absolutely jam-packed show today. We have like 9 topics, all for everything from Dame going back to the Blazers, Marcus Smart signing with the Lakers, CP3 going to the Clippers, why I don't necessarily believe in the Lions, Jerry Jones's just silly comments on Micah Parsons, and 2 somewhat heavy topics, not even heavy. One topic's heavy, the other one's obvious, to start the show. So we're going to try to be faster than we typically are, particularly on the more impactful topics where sometimes I go 20, 30 minutes because we just don't have time for that. Also, before we get to what missed, straight to voicemail, brought to you by Boost Mobile. Before we get to that, Damonza, big day. Good to see you, pal. Love that hoodie. Yes, you're dressed immaculately. I'm wearing one of my worst white t-shirts, but such is life. Big day in the Wright household today, pal. Do you know what's happening today? Baby sister's going off to sleepaway camp for 3 weeks.
Oh,
she leaves in like an hour.
Hell yeah.
And so
exciting stuff. Are you guys gonna miss her?
A little nerve-wracking, but exciting all the same. So all of that is happening and going on here. She might pop in if she has to leave while we're doing the pod to say goodbye. So that'll be nice. There was one other thing. Oh, yeah, by the way, speaking of your baby sister, she is keeping you to she gets to come to L.A. and spend a weekend with you or longer with you this summer.
100%.
And summer is rapidly ending. So I'm just
letting
letting you know, you're going to need some time available in mid to late August where Deanna is going to be with you. I'm just letting you know ahead of time.
We still got time. 100%.
Okay. All right. No problem. All right. By the way, so here's what's not on the pod today. Straight to voicemail, brought to you by Boost Mobile. The Chiefs extend George Karlaftis. I love the deal. Is it a risk? Yeah, because if he doesn't continue on the trajectory that he is, then it'll end up being a contract they don't love. But if he does continue on the trajectory that he's on, then it is an absolute steal. It is almost on average annual value. It's about half of what the top pass rushers are getting now. Hornets win their first title in franchise history. It is not lost on me that the Hornets finally won something, and it was in a tournament LaMelo did not play in. And the Eagles receive their ridiculous Super Bowl rings that have pop-out wings on them. I'm not bitter at all. They're the deserving champions. Those rings are outrageous. All right, Damonza, let's get to the story from the weekend, which is the WNBA All-Star game, kind of. So go ahead.
Yeah, so the ladies of the WNBA All-Star game were protesting with shirts that read, "Pay us what you owe us." And Kelsey Plum took a little bit of a shot at Caitlin Clark after and said that 0 members of Team Clark were very present. It could have been an inside thing, could have been a dig. What did you see here?
Okay, so the Kelsey Plum thing, I think, was totally misconstrued, and that's not the real story, but I want to address it because Ramona Shelburne also, I thought, did a good job addressing it this morning. So Kelsey Plum is up on the dais with, was it Sabrina? Who was the other player alongside her? Yeah, okay, so it was Sabrina. Sabrina, by the way, is on Team Clark. And they talk about the meeting that morning about wearing the shirts. And Kelsey Plum says, like, now no members of Team Clark were there. Poking fun at Sabrina, and also I thought poking fun at the fact that they had all been out partying the night before and that team didn't get up in time. That was my initial reaction. Ramona Shelburne then reports out on it today. WNBA players, including Kelsey Plum, had been discussing the Pay Us What You Owe Us t-shirts for over a week, according to multiple sources. They settled on the idea at breakfast Saturday morning that very few players on Team Clark attended because of the early start. But just to make sure, sources said Brianna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, and others went by the Team Clark locker room before the game to make sure they were on board with the idea and plan. They were. Ramona writes, I thought it was fairly obvious Kelsey Plum tried to make a joke that didn't land. The meeting where players decided to wear the shirts at 8:30 a.m. on Saturday. Understandable that not many from Team Clark made it after what we saw on Stud Buds from the night before. Now, I am not locked in enough on WNBA lore to know about this Stud Bud stream prior to WNBA All-Star Weekend. It seemed very popular during All-Star Weekend, but I am logical enough to know Kelsey Plum was not in a moment of WNBA player unity taking a shot at half of the All-Stars. But because Caitlin Clark's name was involved, people took it and ran with it. That's not the story. The story is how many people are such utter losers. And here's what I mean. Folks, general rule of thumb, blind. If workers are trying to extract more money from owners and management, general rule of thumb, you should be on the workers' side. Now, I know some of you listening are like, well, what about me? I own a 18-person haberdashery business and I'm an owner. Okay, good. You, I guess, can be management. But the vast majority of us, and I say this, by the way, as a silent partner, owner of a small business. Now, it's very small. It's my wife's boutique. But, like, I guess I technically have my hand in both pots, worker and business owner. Doesn't matter. The people that create the product, create the value, those people trying to extract more money, at the very least, you shouldn't be rooting against them. And if you are going to try to be like, well, actually, here's the thing, actually know what the hell you're talking about. So here's the reality. Does anybody intelligent actually think that, well, max contract in the NBA is around $50 million a year. So I guess max contract in the WNBA should be about $50 million a year. No, nobody's making that case. Nobody with a platform that matters is arguing NBA and WNBA players should be paid dollar for dollar the same, like the purses at Wimbledon can be, but it makes sense for the purses at Wimbledon to be the same, men's and women's. They get similar TV ratings, the tickets sell for the same, they are generating the same money. The issue that the WNBA players have that is a fair and correct issue is multifold. And again, so many losers are just bootlicking management sellouts because they think one day they might actually be it's the same folks that are like, well, you know, right now, a tax policy that helps out the lower class would help me. But what about when I have $50 million and I want to pass that down to my kids? It's like, buddy, probably not getting there. You probably should worry a little bit more of the here and the now than the estate tax, but I digress. What people are arguing is, in the NBA, Damonza, if it's a 50-50 split of BRI, basketball-related income. So if the league generates $10 billion, the players' salaries get $5 billion. And that's how you pay the players. The owners get $5 billion, and that's how they run the league. You know what I mean? Pay all the bills that come associated with running the league, and they hope there's money left over. It's 50-50 in the NBA. Do you have a guess? What, again, the size of that pie doesn't change. The size of the pie can change, pardon me. The split does not. It's 50-50. It used to, Brew told me the other day, it used to be 63-37 in the players' favor. And the owners have kind of chipped away at it or whatever. But it's 50-50 now, which feels pretty fair. Like, okay, like, I'm not going to act like owners don't do anything. I'm not going to act like they're unimportant. Now, I would always, 60-40. Yeah, I would always, but listen, I'm a union guy. I'm a union kid. My dad was the president of Firefighters Union for basically my entire life. I am a union guy. My first term paper I ever wrote in my life was about Lech Walesa and the Polish Solidarity Movement. It's colored my politics. It's colored who I am. I think when a lot of people talk about, man, we see these stupid old tweets. They're like, in the 70s, people were able to, the man worked, the wife stayed at home, you had a car, you had a house, you sent your kids to school. It's like, what changed? And people, because they're dopes, are like, what changed is immigrants. What changed is the union jobs and factories and stuff like that. But again, sorry for being political this morning, but this is kind of a political thing. So, I'll go back to you, Damonza. What do we think, or what is your guess?
The WNBA split? Like owner to
split.
Players?
Owner to player. What do you think the split is as of this moment?
I think it's like 70-30.
How about 91-9?
Oh, wow. 91-9 owners?
91-9 owners. Now, what folks' reaction is going to be, but the league loses money. But 2/3 of the league lost money last year. Got it. Okay, so quick question on that. Honest question, because the world's changed in the last 2 years in the WNBA, thanks in large part to Caitlin Clark, not solely to Caitlin Clark, but she's the driving force in the success of women's college basketball and the eyes and the ratings, all of that. Guys, you think right now WNBA teams are worth more or less than they were 2 years ago? You think that if you bought the WNBA team 2 years ago and you offered it up for sale today, that you would get more or less money? Do you think if it's such a bad business that, oh my God, you can't claw any more money away from, are there a bunch of WNBA teams for sale? It's like, oh my God, nobody will buy one. Or are they expanding the league? Is it a league where more people want to get in? Again, I don't want to...
With them expanding the league, doesn't it also make it pretty weird to up it right now? Wouldn't it make sense for like once all the teams are there? Because then there's going to be some other split taken away from the teams when those two teams do get there. Is that not how it works?
Well, no, the split, because like in the NBA, they're going to.
I guess they're bringing in more money. It's another team.
You're right. You're bringing in more money. There's expansion fees, all that, and I'm not going to. I have to be careful on what I say here, but I actually have a little bit of insight into what it costs for a new WNBA team, because Kansas City is trying to get one, and I have had very casual conversations about being a very, very small part of an investment group. And I got to tell you, it ain't cheap. Right now, people think WNBA's on the uptick. Right. They think it's a growth industry.
It is.
So, because it is. And so this idea that the players should just be satisfied, and this idea that the poor WNBA owners, think about the owners that are losing money, when with most pro sports, the real profit is in the appreciation of the team, that in over years, when you eventually cash out, you know what I mean? You make 10, 20, 100x on what your initial investment was. Right. That's what it is. And then there is this other very basic logical point. Is there any other capitalistic endeavor? So I'm not talking about social workers. I'm not talking about kindergarten teachers. I'm not talking about firemen. The capitalistic endeavor where someone of Caitlin Clark's quality, and I will use her as an example because she is the most visible player in the league. Is there any other field in the world where someone of Caitlin Clark's caliber would make less than $80,000 a year? Think about it. Just for real, think about it. And the answer is no. There is not. So it is a little right now out of whack. It is why Brittany Griner a few years ago was over in Russia playing ball and got caught up because you can make more money overseas, which is another point. Is there proof of concept that you can pay women athletes more than the WNBA pays them and still be a functional business? Yeah, because leagues across Europe do it. So, again, nobody serious is arguing that the WNBA players and the NBA players should make the same amount of money. But nobody serious can actually think that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Paige Beckers making 70-some grand a year is a proper payment for services rendered. And again, just a rule of thumb, if there is a labor dispute and you don't know much about it, I'm not saying the workers 100% of the time in every labor dispute across the board are in the right. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, if there is a labor dispute and you don't know much about the actual details and your gut reaction is to side with ownership, you're a sucker.
Or you're sexist.
Well, in this instance, there's a lot of that. In this instance, there is a lot of...
But for the grand scheme.
Yeah, there is... You're being more specific to the WNBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, so guys, this is where, and I am not, Adam Smith in that I am not a true market zealot. However, there is a beauty to an actual marketplace, which is, if it's such a bad deal for owners, why is no one selling their teams? Huh? Like, why? Well, by the way, you people who are like concerned about the long-term trajectory of the NBA, if you are, you have a few data points of the Mavs sold, the Celtics sold, the Lakers sold. Like, why did those ownership groups get out? Now, the flip side to that is they sold for these insane amounts of money, so maybe that's a sign in the favor that it's healthy. But it is just outrageous, the amount of people that were like, pipe down, ladies, be happy. When the truth of the matter is, in America, celebrity is super valuable. And over the last couple years, the WNBA players have become celebrities. And Caitlin might have been the driving force, but she ain't the only celebrity. Hell, oh my goodness. Sophie Cunningham is a legit star. Oh. Angel Reese is a legit star. Paige is a star. Turns out the Stud Buds crew have this huge Twitch or stream following
Sabrina's
again.
Pretty big.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was trying to mention more of like the newer players, but yeah, Sabrina's been. But yeah, all those folks. Asia Wilson is a legit star. and she's been around for a while. Like, obviously the money's not right. All right, we'll get to something lighter like the Commanders team name in a minute. But first, nothing says summer like long days, clutch plays, and firing off a few bets on the game, all with DraftKings Sportsbook. As the season heats up, so do the bats. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. Live betting, home run props, odds boosts, and more. Whether you're chasing dingers or jumping in mid-game, there's always action to be had. Never bet on baseball before? Easy. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just try and ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes. I'll be honest, that's how I bet baseball. I'm not betting baseball the way I'm betting football, which is like I'm spending a lot of time studying it. I'm like, hey, what are my odds for Bobby Witt to hit a homer today? And they tell me plus 340 against the Cubs. Or, man, Salvi has been on fire lately. What about KC on the run line? Plus 1.5 runs at plus 103. My guy Vinny Pasquantino, 2 or more hits at plus 295. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers. Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WRIGHT. That's code WRIGHT, W-R-I-G-H-T, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Lines and odds subject to change. All right, Damonza, before we get to the Commanders team name, special guest for the first time in a while. We're going to try to squeeze her in here. Deanna, you can sit down. Damonza, have you seen her new hair?
Deanna,
by the way?
I was just about to tell you, we haven't talked. I love your hair. You look a lot like Mom right now. And you're all ready for camp. Those are going to do good for your 3 weeks.
All right, so 3 weeks at camp. Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you sad?
Yeah.
You're going to miss us?
Mhm.
But, oh, sorry, I need to get you more on mic. My apologies. We're very excited.
Mhm.
We have to, by the way, I meant to tell you this. I'll call you guys after the pod. We have to schedule her phone call.
Oh yeah.
'Cause it's like prison. You got to schedule a phone call. You're going to be there. You're just going to be scrubbing floors. Going to be doing all this stuff. So I don't want to say what camp you're going to,
Well.
but no. Oh, no, they can't see. It's fine. It's not on camera. I don't want to say what camp you're going to, but it's going to be awesome. It's your second time at sleepaway camp, but it's your first time that your sister won't be there,
Mhm.
and you're going to crush.
Mhm.
Now, I do have a question for you if you don't mind answering it.
What?
So this is an all-girls camp,
Yeah.
but I was reading about some of the details.
Oh no.
Do they have dances?
Yes.
So it's just all you girls dancing together?
No.
So what's the deal there?
You know what's the deal. You're just asking me this because you want to say it on camera.
Well, I'm just trying to get the details. Your brother certainly doesn't know.
There's the brother camp.
The brother camp.
Yeah, a boy from my school goes there.
Oh, really? Don't say his name, but are you friends with him?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, that's good.
The brother.
So how often do you guys meet up with them?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
All right, what are you most excited for?
I don't know.
You don't know? You got stage fright for the first time in your life?
No, I'm just excited for everything.
You're excited for everything. Is there a number you're going to try to water ski?
I'm not gonna try to water ski. I am gonna water ski.
You are going to water ski. Anything else I need to know?
No.
Okay, do you want to go?
Yeah. Bro, so did you do that?
Did I do
Oh,
what?
the
Did
have
I
fun at
put the
Camp
graphic
Deanna?
up
No,
there?
he's not in charge of the graphics.
I did not do that.
No, that's not
I love you.
not his thing.
Okay.
All right.
Love you, bro, sir.
I love you,
All
Andy.
right.
Have fun at
I
camp.
love you,
I'll talk
Rock.
to you soon.
You're gonna do great. Give me a giant hug. I love you. Sorry, this is family business, so this is what we gotta do. She's on her way to camp. You're gonna crush. Give me a kiss. I love you, baby. Bye. Can I have the AirPod back? All right, I'm gonna call you guys after the pod to set up the phone call. Love you, baby. See you. Don't forget anything. Double check your backpack. Okay. I love you. Bye. All right, so there was that. She was supposed to leave at noon, but she's leaving now, so there was that. So thank you guys for that.
Really
And
burned
now, the Washington Commanders team name. I mean, this podcast is just a little bit of everything today. All right, go ahead.
So the Commanders they're trying to build a new stadium. But
Hold on, wait, pause. Go ahead. Go, you need more money? All right, that's fine. Just go on my safe and grab money.
safe.
All right, love you.
It's open.
My wife knows you think I'd be allowed to have a safe in this house that your mom doesn't know the combination to, Damonza? Are you kidding me? Are you
it sounded like
kidding
the door was just like wide open. You were like, yeah, just go grab it out of my safe. I mean, I guess mom's
No. It's fine. Go ahead. All right, so let's start. Yeah, go ahead.
Commanders are trying to build a new stadium. Donald Trump is trying to put that at a halt. There could be a number of problems here, but he does not like their current name. He wants them to revert back to the Redskins, which was discontinued because it was insensitive. What are your thoughts here?
We just live in the dumbest timeline, man. So I'm not going to do. I'm not even going to wade into the obvious distraction piece of this, because I just don't have time for it. Damonza, I want you, because I think you will be stunned. If you can you click on the link that I put right beneath the story?
Yes.
Because here's the deal. So people conflate things. Don't scroll through it yet, Damonza.
Okay.
And they're like, why did Washington change its name, but Florida State didn't? Why are the Braves and the Chiefs allowed, but the Indians weren't? And these are not complex questions, okay? And the answer is there an argument that all of the Native American imagery should be removed? There's an argument. I actually don't believe in that argument. I do think there's things where you can be actually honoring a culture. Now, I think that, for example, the thing my Chiefs fans do that I hate is the tomahawk chop, which I think that's borderline racist, not even borderline at all, embarrassing. And I would, if people don't know what it is, I would show you, but I'm not going to have a clip of me on, that can be snipped on camera of doing that. But it's just like the old school, Cowboys and Indians thing for the Indian side. And so I don't like that. But the Chiefs logo in and of itself, just like the Braves logo, or the Seminoles, which the Seminole tribe of Northern Florida has not only signed off on, but is a party to, that I think certainly you can make arguments for it. You can't, and you never could, make an argument for, pardon me, Redskin, because it's a literal slur. And you couldn't make an argument for Indians because the logo was literally a smiling, painted, red-faced caricature. And you might be like, oh, we were late on that, and we were, but those are undeniably racist. So I guess what it comes down to is this. Does the potential racism or insensitivity have any deniability? And if the answer is yes, then we can have the discussion. But if the answer is no, and when you have a literal painted red face, or your name is a literal slur, then it shouldn't be used. And the reason I wanted Damonza to go to this link is, it is unbelievable when you look back at how many teams had Native American imagery, and they were all the same cartoonish, outrageous looking, what would have been called then Indian. The Philadelphia Warriors was basically a naked guy with a feather in his hat, a funny nose, dribbling a basketball. That was an outrageous depiction. If you scroll down further, St. John's, who used to be called the Red Men, and then became the Red Storm, because again, Redman is a racist term. It was again a dude with a giant headdress, again the similar nose, dribbling a basketball. Some of these are, hell, my school used to be called the Orange Men. Again, if there's ever a name that's color and then skin, like color of skin and then person, it's probably one you don't want. And so, Syracuse used to be the Orange Men. Their Native American mascot was outrageously racist, so they got rid of it. And these are not things we need to argue about. There is no proper way to call a team Redskin. There isn't. It's a racist term. And now you might be like, Nick, how racist is it? If you're comfortable saying it, because you wouldn't say the N-word on the air, you wouldn't say other slurs. And I'll be honest, I kind of debated that with in my head. I feel like because it was the team name for decades, that I don't want to say there was a numbing of the slur, but I guess I'm just more comfortable saying it in this type of conversation, even though you would never, again, another good rule of thumb. If calling someone a team name might get you punched in the face, it shouldn't be a team name. Like, you might see a guy and be like, "What's up, Chief?" And he's not going to fight you. Or, like, I'm thinking of but if you see someone and you called him the old Washington team name, he justifiably might punch you in the face. And so, I just don't, of all the things we need. Now, if you want to say, bring back the colors, we actually do want it to be, we want to find a name that evokes Native American heritage and all those things. I'll listen, and I thought Commanders, that's kind of what they were trying to do, but I'll listen to you on it. But the Cleveland the Cleveland Indians logo was an outrage. And Washington's name was an outrage. And yes, there's a million things Trump related. Like 10 years ago, did he tweet, "The president's got more important things to do than worry about Washington's football team name"? Of course. Does Trump have, other things going on right now that he might want the media distracted from? Sure. Is all of that. But there also is, at its core, what so much of this bullshit comes down to is, I want to be angry about having to adjust any little bit of language because other people want me to. And now again, is there an argument that at times we have overcorrected in that area? Sure. Is there a free speech? I'm allowed to do it. Of course. But then there is just the very basic, simple, not hard, and every other team for the last at least 20 years across collegiate and professional sports was able to follow it, which is, don't have your team name be a dictionary-defined slur. After that, we can start having a bit of a debate. But there is just a certain group of folks that just want to always be mad. Like the Outkick guys tweeted. Did you see, Damonza, the L. Duncan viral clip about L. Duncan? She's a SportsCenter anchor. She does a great job. She was doing halftime of the WNBA All-Star game.
Oh, yeah, I did.
You saw the clip.
Yeah, I did see that.
So L. Duncan is doing, like, tossing to break at halftime of the All-Star game. And the WNBA All-Star game, notably, much like the NBA All-Star game this year, not a lot of defense. And so she says, and I think this is the quote, but I'll call it a paraphrase. She said, much like a all-girls trip to Cancun, there's no D. And then they go to break. Now, you might say that's a little risque for ESPN. It certainly took courage for her to say that in that setting. I also think Elle Duncan's never been shy on courage. You also can say it's a corny joke. I don't know. It made me chuckle just because the setting. It would have been a groan-worthy joke if, like, a stand-up comic was like, hey, just see the WNBA All-Star game, that, like, if it was like a whole set-up punchline thing. But given the setting of it and the kind of reaction. Yes, it was just so out of nowhere. I thought it was funny. And then those, I always have to be mad at everything losers are like.
Our kids are watching.
Can you imagine if a man made this type of joke about women? And
not about women, but inappropriate jokes during an NBA game. No. Kind of hinting at something is.
Sure. But the answer is like, listen, man, everything doesn't have to be woe is me, the oppressed straight white male that just can't get a break these days. And it's just, you're just playing the same song again and again and again and again. And it's just so tired. And so, like, folks, if you wanted to have, like, a smart discussion of, have we over-policed language? Is it, speaking of white folks, is it a lot of, in some instances, white, mostly liberal white people changing language in relation to people of color that don't actually want it changed? Like the Latinx stuff. And, you know, like, if you want to have, like, a smart, actually, you know, discussion, there is room for that. But if you want to die on the hill of one of the 32 teams in the NFL, their team name should be a literal dictionary-defined slur, then you're just an asshole.
It's just a weird thing to be trying to halt the construction of the building to go back to something. Like, I can see if he was saying you have to change your name from Redskins to Commanders, but to change it back is just.
And again, I don't think they're actually going to halt the name, and they're not changing the name back.
No.
You know what I mean? Right. They're not changing the name back. It's just such a weird hill for groups of folks to, like, be worked up about it. I don't totally get it. All right, this is a message that applies to 99% of you listening right now, because that's how many of you can be covered by fast and reliable service on the Boost mobile network with 99% nationwide coverage. If you don't think you deserve a deal, well, listen up. You've got another thing coming. Right now, when you switch to Boost Mobile, you can get iPhone 15 with Dynamic Island and a 48-megapixel main camera for $99.99. That's $99.99 for iPhone 15 on a nationwide 5G network. This may only apply to 99% of you, but I'm 100% positive Boost Mobile just gave all of us a really freaking good deal. In-store offer, $35 device setup fee may apply. Requires credit qualification, ID verification, and activation on a $6 plan. Taxes extra. 5G speeds not available in all areas. All right, Damonza, let's get to the actual football stuff, and we'll go through these relatively quickly. Go ahead.
So Jerry Jones feels like they're going to do well with getting Micah Parsons extended, or maybe not. He said that just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He missed 6 games last year. What do you think that Jerry's trying to get done by saying this?
Nothing. Just news cycles and just talking. But here is what, to me, is so funny about this situation. Jerry Jerry is laying out all of these, I think, somewhat clumsy and not exactly profound points on, the risks of paying players.
Dak.
It's like, yes, they might get hurt. They might not be available. They could regress. Like, nobody in the audience is like, oh my God, I'd never thought of that. But he's doing all of this when all of us know he's ultimately going to pay him. Like, so the Bengals team owner is out there, you know what I mean, being like, listen, we don't want to give Shamar Stewart the deal we've given all the rookies because we don't think we should have to pay him if he's in jail. This is really what he said. And you can agree or disagree. I think the Bengals are poorly run. That's neither here nor there. The point is that he might actually he might stand his ground. He might stick to his guns. Jerry, unquestionably, without a shadow of a doubt, is going to pay Micah. And so he is just like, he is creating this is a clumsy analogy, and I've probably used one of these, something similar to this before. But if deep down you and your ex are getting back together, then you don't want to go on a public Twitter rant about what a bad girl she was and all the ways she did you wrong, because ultimately you're going to be Instagramming pictures with her again. And there is an element of when Jerry is like, here are all the reasons that paying a player is super risky and you might not want to do it. Is there not a piece of him? Is there not a piece of him that's like, oh boy, I'm definitely planning on paying this player. And this might end up being thrown in my face. And so that is it. But Bruce said this years ago, and he wasn't wrong, that Jerry is entertainer first, football owner second, and he is wanting to make sure the Cowboys are in the news and entertaining and all of that, and I guess good for them, but he's obviously going to pay Micah, and now you're going to pay Micah, who you have pissed off at least to a degree, because Micah retweeted J.J. Watt's tweet, and J.J. Watt tweeted, anytime you can publicly take a dig at your star quarterback and your star pass rushers simultaneously right before the season begins, you just got to take it. Nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are that they got hurt while fighting for you. And J.J. Watt retweets it. J.J. Watt writes it, Micah retweets it. And so it's just unnecessary. And all of this is unnecessary. And they're just bad at the business part of this. Cowboys are pretty good at drafting, very good at marketing, well above average at actual football, historically, even over the last 5 years or whatever. And just bad at the business part of it. And there's no getting around that. All right, let's get to the Lions.
The Lions are confident that this is the year that they get over the hump, with David Montgomery calling it their year of reckoning. How do you see this season going for Detroit?
I'd be a little nervous, Damonza. Listen, I think they have too much talent to be bad. But here are the, to me, ominous signs, so to speak. First one is one that always matters. Lost both coordinators. That is one that during a season when a team is struggling, we're like, oh, change coordinators. But we don't do a good enough job in the offseason of, reminding folks. Lost Aaron Glenn, lost Ben Johnson. So that to me is First concern. Second concern. Their center retired. They lost their best guard in free agency. So it looks like they're going to slide their worst offensive lineman, who was their right guard last year, whatever guard Zeitler wasn't, over to center, and then be starting a second-year sixth-round pick and probably a rookie second-round pick at their two guard spots. So where offensive line has been maybe their single biggest position of strength as of, in this Jared Goff, Dan Campbell era, now that interior of the offensive line might be the biggest weakness of the team. And nothing makes Jared Goff go from, man, Jared Goff has been really good, to pumpkin mode, like up the middle pressure, because he just doesn't have the athleticism to escape or be creative. If it's on time and it's what it's supposed to see, he's really good. But if you can get pressure on him up the middle, it can be really deadly for him. And so that's a concern. The tougher division this year, to me, and I shouldn't say tougher, because last year it was really good. The Vikings were excellent. Packers were good. But another tough division, that's concerning. And here's the other piece, Damonza, for a team last year that was 15-2. Here's their opening 7 games, which is before their bye. At the Packers, home for the Bears, Ben Johnson, at the Ravens, home for the Browns layup, at Cincy, at the Chiefs, home for the Bucks. Man. And by the way, it's just a schedule that you never can take a breath. Like, there's their first 7, then a bye week, then home for Tampa, home for the Vikings, at the Commanders, at the Eagles, home for the Giants, okay, home for the Packers, home for the Cowboys, at the Rams, home for the Steelers, okay, at the Vikings, at the Bears. And so, could I see the Lions going from 15-2 and the 1 seed to 10-7 and a wild card? Absolutely. And so, I think they're good. I think they're talented. Gibbs is a star. Having Hutchinson back will be great. But I think the Lions, losing both coordinators, the loss of the offensive lineman that they've had, I still feel like I'm not as big on Jameson Williams as maybe others are. I wonder how that horrific playoff game has sat with Goff all offseason. I wonder how back-to-back years of just gut punch postseason losses, has sat with them. All of that is concerning to me. And in that loss last year we had a graphic on the TV show yesterday of number 1 seeds the last decade to lose their first home playoff game. And it was the Cowboys, Dak's rookie year, the Ravens, Lamar's first year as a full-time starter, the Titans with Tannehill, and the Packers with Aaron Rodgers in that his second to last year there in the crazy 13-10 game or whatever in the snow against San Francisco. So, by the way, 3 of those teams the next year missed the playoffs. The Ravens made the playoffs and lost in the divisional round. So you have a 17-point lead in the conference championship game. You blow it. You come back the next year. You're even better. You're the 1 seed. And a rookie quarterback comes to your stadium and waxes you. And your quarterback plays his worst game in a couple years. That's all ominous, if you ask me, for the Lions. Do you think that's fair? I know you thought I'm a little too low on the Lions historically.
Oh, well, no, I do think that, you said they lost their interior lineman, but just Jared Goff as well. I thought it's I don't want to say ominous, but a limitation to winning the Super Bowl. That's what it sounds like they're talking about. And you need to see him, win that playoff game, or do that was a rookie that you got that done to by. But But
Yeah, and I mean, Washington just
they were flowing.
outclassed them that
Like,
game.
yeah,
Yeah,
there
I
was
mean, and that
never
was the
any-
Lions. Now, the Lions' defense was
banged
devastated
up,
by
depleted.
injury, and we know
Yeah.
that. But I also am a little worried what version of Aiden Hutchinson we're going to see, at least at
Right.
the beginning of the year. So I think all that's fair. All right, summer's coming in hot. Literally, if there's one thing you shouldn't mess around with this summer, it's deodorant. Mando deodorant, sweat control, built for this season. Blocks odor all day, controls sweat too. Whether you're grilling in 90-degree weather, heading to a baseball game, or going for a run, Mando will keep your pits fresh and dry. One of the worst feelings in the world when you realize, come on, you have BO. With Mando, you have zero concerns because you know you'll smell great and it will last all day. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code Wright at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. If you missed it the first time, let me tell you once more. It's a special offer for listeners. New customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code Wright at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. That's shopmando.com. Shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pit. Smell great doing it. All right, Damonza, one more NFL thing before we get to some basketball and get out of here and some listener questions. So go ahead.
Yeah, so the NFL is a month away, so it's time to talk futures. Is there anything that you see on the horizons that you like? Division, Super Bowl winner, yards?
Listen, we're going to do our full-blown gambling show, late August. And it really, if you're new to the pod this year, or, in the last few months, football's when we really cook. We got our gambling shows. We got a lot. Damonza is dialed. I'm still, by the way, Connor and Paul are friends with the volume and with DraftKings. If we could send DraftKings this official on the record plea, by the way, I'm putting this out there. This is what we would call a value add. I don't want a single extra dollar in our wonderful partnership with DraftKings. Not what I'm looking for. But if we could, in addition to in football season, when, I'll give you my 5 plays of the week, if we could also have a bonus thing and maybe even create a cool little graphic like we have for mine, 1 teaser a week. We have to come up with a snappy name for it. But if people don't know, Damonza last year, I think, hit like 7 in a row. He's turned into a bit of a teaser expert. If we could have somewhere, I don't care if it's buried. I don't care if you have to click 17 different links to get to it. Somewhere on there, Damonza's NFL teaser of the week. It would really be a special moment for this podcast.
Yes.
All that's coming. Go ahead.
I mean, that'd be like one of my greatest achievements outside of hitting 73s in a row. That one time in 2017.
Oh, yeah. we did. That's a sidebar. We can get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But it would be great, and it would also be awesome for some of Damonza's high school and college buddies who are regular DraftKings users, for them to be scrolling and to see the Damonza teaser. It would really, it would be awesome, and so we're pulling
over
for that.
The moon.
In the meantime, there is one bet that I think the odds are going to shift, because I think this team is going to become a popular sleeper pick. And I have no loyalty, if you will, when it comes to gambling. Now, I obviously will. There are certain things I won't do. Like, I won't bet against the Chiefs. But it doesn't mean I bet on the Chiefs every time. A couple years ago, I told you guys one of my favorite preseason win totals was the Broncos over 5.5 wins. I can't stand the Broncos. And by the way, I think they're one of the most overrated teams in the league this year. It actually kind of plays into why I like this bet. But I thought that they were great value over 5.5 wins. They ended up winning, I think, 8 games. The 6th longest odds of any team to make the playoffs. Far worse odds than the Panthers. Better odds than only the Titans, the Jets, the Giants, the Saints, and the Browns are a team that I believe is going to make the playoffs. And I believe these odds are going to, between now and the start of the year, drop from plus 330 to like plus 290. And that is the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders going from a head coach in Antonio Pierce that was just out of his depth to Pete Carroll. Going from maybe the worst quarterback situation in the league to Geno Smith. With Brock Bowers in year 2 and Ashton Genty in year 1 and Carroll coaching up that secondary. And a last place schedule that includes games against. This is not just all strength of schedule games. But on the Raiders schedule are the Patriots, the Titans, the Browns, the Giants, I skipped over a couple. Ones
the
that
Bears?
I won't necessarily think are easy, but you guys
Bears,
might. The Bears, the Jags,
Colts.
the Texans late in the year, a team that I worry about a bit. 4 games against maybe the slightly overrated Chargers and the considerably overrated Broncos. Did I mention the Colts game in there? They have on their entire schedule, aside from the Chiefs game. They play the Cowboys. Like, here's the Raiders schedule. Patriots, Chargers, Commanders, Bears, Colts, Titans, Chiefs, Jags, Broncos, Cowboys, Browns, Chargers, Broncos, Eagles, Texans, Giants, Chiefs. They have 3 monster games, Chiefs and Eagles, 5 simple games, in my opinion, and then 9 we'll see games. That team absolutely can get to 9 or 10 wins and sneak into the playoffs. And
if the Chiefs are in a good state at that time of the year, it could be a free game for them.
Well, that's the other thing. If you are in the AFC West, you always hope that one of your 2 Chiefs games is that Week 17 Chiefs game, because about half the time the Chiefs are resting people that week. Half the time they got to go for it. Like, it could be bad. Where, oh man, the Chiefs need this game for, playoff positioning. But about half the time, they have everything locked.
Well, the Raiders play the Chiefs pretty well anyways, too, I feel like. They hang around
sometimes, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and they beat them on Christmas 2 years ago. So the Raiders, plus 330 to make the playoffs. That is my early first NFL season-long bet. All right, Damonza, let's go to the NBA.
Marcus Smart is the newest Laker. He's been bought out by the Wizards, and he's going to be playing with them next year. How do you see him fitting in with this new version of the Lakers? I'll say like 5 years ago, LeBron would have been pissed playing with Marcus Smart.
Okay, but what do you're is it fair to call you a Marcus Smart guy?
No, I'm not like a Marcus Smart guy. I didn't dislike him. I didn't love him. Like he was viable. I like his scrappiness. I'm just curious, like what his role would be over there with the Lakers.
So listen, depth, defense, obviously that's his role. For the money they're paying him, it's fine. I would be very surprised if he is a real difference maker. However, the hope would be that with Memphis and Washington, bad fit, and then Washington's not trying for anything, and that all of a sudden, he's reinvigorated. The concern is very simple, Damonza. It's that he is a very old 31. That the concern is because of his style of play that he has, aged much more quickly than you would have liked. And because of his toughness, how many charges he's taken, all of that. And that even at just 31, he's on the significant downside. But credit where it's due. The Lakers adding Ayton and Smart without giving up anything of real substance, even though they did lose Dorian Finney-Smith, it's not a bad... that the offseason is ticking closer to a decent one. And go ahead.
And then, do you think maybe they'll get rid of Austin Reeves to get even more stuff, or probably going to have him?
So I don't know. I think they really like Austin. I think Austin's a little redundant with Luka plus LeBron, but it's possible they look at it like we only have one more year of LeBron, so, we want to have a second ball handler other than just Luka. Yeah. What the Lakers do have, and this is, I don't think it's going to happen in the preseason, in the offseason, but during the regular season, what they do have is the expiring contracts of Maxi Kleber, Gabe Vincent, Jackson Hayes, all of which those combine for $25 million. If you were to add Ruiz to it, then all of a sudden it combines to $40 million. Would the Lakers during the regular season use some of those expiring deals to try to go get one, plus a draft pick or two, to try to go get one more piece? And the answer to that is maybe. And I think so. I think that they have they've been able to kind of manicure around the edges without moving any picks or moving any expiring contracts. And so more moves could be coming, pending on LeBron still being awesome, Luka being healthy, and how close they think they are to winning a championship this year. And by the way, that's a perfect segue into one of our sponsored segments, Boost on the Rise. Time for On the Rise, brought to you by our friends at Boost Mobile, bringing down players who found a way to stand apart at NBA Summer League, just like Boost's superior 5G networks and towers. At this point, Damonza, I think early in the year at least, Bronny is going to have a shot to earn back end of the rotation minutes. Yep. Listen, his turnovers in Summer League he had too many turnovers. His turnovers in his games were 1, 4, 3, and then 8. That 8 is obviously an outrageous number. But he also gave you 8 points, 14 points, 17 points, and then 18 points in the fourth quarter alone. His efficiency from 3 needs to be better, which kind of drug down his efficiency in general. But he played good defense, and he looked kind of the way you want a second-year, second-round pick to look, which is like he's better than a lot of the guys he's playing against in Summer League, because he's supposed to be. So I thought Bronny stood out in a positive way, which is why, he's the guy we're highlighting for On the Rise, brought to you by Boost Mobile. The flip side is, you would have hoped, Dalton Connect's supposed to crush Summer League. He was a first-round pick, almost a lottery pick. He was an old college player, so that's the other thing. Dalton Connect, one of the reasons he fell in the draft was, he was a 4-year college player. He's 24 years old, having played in the NBA for a year, and he struggled mightily in Summer League. And he was 10 points a game. He didn't shoot it well at all from 3, and maybe it's just, small sample size 3-point variance, but he was 5 for 21 from 3, didn't do much else, and now you worry that when Connect probably had the value of, around where he was drafted, maybe not after a year, contract gone, you hoped he had the value of a late first-round pick in a trade. I don't know that he does anymore. And so while Bronny was a positive in Summer League for the Lakers, I think Connect was a negative. All right, before we get to listener questions, a few things. Just count me in, Damonza, as someone that's not going to believe in the Clippers for the 6th straight year.
What's wrong with them?
What do you mean?
I mean, they will take whatever. Like, it just seems like they just take a bunch of big names so they can stay relevant. It's like they'll just
I think you might be about right.
Freed up. It doesn't matter how it looks.
Such an old team.
Yeah.
I mean, Brooke and Kawhi and James and listen, CP3 played all 82 last year, so you can credit for that. But he's not an impactful player.
I would have loved to see him stay with Wemby, if I'm being honest.
They have too many guards though now.
Yeah, and young guards too.
They traded for Fox. They have Castle, and they just drafted Harper. Yeah. So I don't mind him going back. It's not like this is a bad move, but it's just the same old folks who every year are like, watch out for the Clippers. They're saying it again. And that's surprising to me. All right, reminder, like, rate, subscribe, review. Some of the listeners want to know about the 73-point shots. How many? How many do you think that was? I don't know how many it was in a row, but I just remember it was 100 threes. I probably missed like the first 6 or 7 or something like that. It was like 1 for 6 or 1 for 7 like that. And I think it finished either like 82 or 84 out of 100. So I don't know how many in a row it was. Yeah. So you've got it. So Damonza was doing an impromptu, maybe against some of the rules, tryout for a junior college team that'll remain nameless. And it was supposed to just kind of be just like an interview, get to know you thing.
Yeah.
And then they were like, hey, why don't you go out and, warm up a bit or whatever. And then they had you take 100 threes, 20 from each spot, corner, wing, top of the key, wing, corner.
Right.
And I was in the gym, and Damonza missed 6 of his first 7. And I was sick. Like, not for me, but I was sick for him. And then so he was 1 for 7, and then in the next 93, went 83 of 93. Yeah. Because you finished with 84. And so I don't know, what was your longest streak in a row?
Right.
Of, without a miss. I think it was probably, 20-something.
And hey, I just want it to be known. Klay Thompson was out there shooting just regular threes. This had the big net up, like shooting the ball back at you. So it was a little extra degree of difficulty there.
Little extra degree. Also, you were kind of, thought playing for your basketball life and had missed, you know what I mean? And started off shaky. It was one of the cool. So at the end, you made 83 of 93. And I think, if I remember correctly, I said to you when we were walking out, like at one point you made 45 of 46.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? I think you're probably your best 70 if we were to grab them. You were like 66 of 70 or something. But it was
that makes sense. It was I was flustered in the beginning, and then but yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't know if I've ever taken that many shots in a row like that. That was arms were dead.
All right, let's get to some listener questions quick.
Eric says, last week you said you'd add Derek Thomas to this current Chiefs team and add any former player situation for the Chiefs. Would you consider Will Shields or Willie Rofe to bolster the
Willie
offensive
Rofe,
line?
I hadn't thought about. Willie Rofe would be pretty unbelievable. If you could just get, one of the greatest left tackles ever to guard Mahomes' blindside. That'd be pretty great. All right, next.
Tyler asks, do you think Jaden Daniels is on a crash course to the next Mahomes?
Next Mahomes, too much.
He's a little too mobile for Mahomes.
Well, they're different stylistically and body types, obviously. And Jaden's awesome, but next Mahomes, too much, if you ask me.
Yeah.
In order to, he would have to either win league MVP or Super Bowl this year I think he's kind of on pace. I think that'd be very tough, but maybe you could do it. Next.
Danny asks, if Patrick Mahomes did not exist, which current NFL quarterback would you want on the team?
I mean, Josh Allen's the second best quarterback. You have to like Men in Black neuralizer me about, my history with Josh Allen. So my answer is probably Caleb, because I still think Caleb's going to be a superstar. Next.
SG asks, when are people finally going to stop blowing things out of proportion whenever Clark's name comes up? Probably.
Once they change the way social media and search engine algorithms work, like that, it's just you just get too much engagement. That's why. All right, next.
Jeremy says, "Hey Nick, speaking of labor relations, curious to hear your thoughts and reactions to the NFLPA's dumpster fire the last few weeks, or is that not allowed because of Pablo Torre?"
No, it's allowed. Credit where it's due. Pablo and Mike Florio, but most notably Pablo, did a truly spectacular job with that story. And they affected real change. And it was real journalism. And I thought it was great. I mentioned it. I talked about it on the TV show. The NFLPA's got to get its act together, is the short version of it. That story deserves way more attention than just that one line. Maybe we'll talk more about it Thursday if we have time. But it's embarrassing, kind of. And I'm glad Lloyd Howell resigned, and I'm glad J.C. Treader resigned, and really good job by Pablo and Mike. Next.
Lionel asks, do you think that Mahomes can be the GOAT with 5 Super Bowl wins? He already thinks Mahomes is the GOAT, don't you? Oh,
no, I don't know. He's the most talented and best I've ever seen, but Brady's the GOAT. But yeah, I think that I think the question is, does he have to get to 7 for him to be considered the best ever? And no, I don't think he has to get to 7. Next.
Eclipse asks, when is Tennis Corner coming back?
For the U.S. Open. I'll just be honest. I didn't watch as much Wimbledon as I have in years past because of travel. So I couldn't really do Tennis Corner, but I'll be at U.S. Open, and so it'll come back for the U.S. Open. All right, great job, Damonza. Regular podcast schedule this week. We'll be back on Thursday. A lot of thank yous to give out today. Volume, DraftKings, Boost, Mando, everybody for being involved, all the listeners, the great folks at Blue Duck, as always. Like, rate, subscribe, review. See you guys later. What's right?